So let's dive right into it. Where do we normally find PO staff coming from? Are they, I mean, you have this notion of the outward facing eyeballs, which has traditionally been product management, right? Who are looking at competitive landscapes and things like that. They for sure have to talk to product owners, but could they potentially become a product owner? Is that a viable leap for them to come back inside with? I mean, certainly they would have the business and domain knowledge, but the question would be, can they talk to the technical folks?
I've definitely seen organizations where the product management organization staffs most of the product owner roles, but very
Okay.
rarely. One of the things about staffing the product owner role that a big pitfall I think people fall into is saying all our product owners will come from blank, right? Where all our product owners will be product managers, all our product owners will be engineering managers. Instead, even when most of them have come from that organization, and we can talk about this a little bit later, you don't necessarily want all of them coming from that. You want to look at what the team needs, right? And if the team's doing customer facing things, then product managers can be wonderful product owners. And usually the rule of thumb I use is you can be a product manager and have a full time job being a product owner to 1 to 2 Scrum teams. You could also be a product owner on a Scrum team and do other product management duties. And in some organizations, there's also occasionally product managers who are still only doing product management kinds of things like road mapping and competitive analysis and buyer personas and that sort of stuff. And so the organization is, you know, a little bit of a hybrid. Not every product manager is a product owner, and I've seen that be incredibly successful. The real key there is, do the product managers have sufficient time? Has the organization given the sufficient time to successfully be product owners? And sometimes they just don't have that time. The organization hasn't recognized that that can be a really successful pattern to put in place, and they don't have the time, and then they're just not going to be a great product owner because they lack, as Earl was saying, they've got that business knowledge inside and out, but can they spend all that time you need to spend with the team?
Right.
I think product management is a great, it's what usually where I looked first for staffing the product owner role. The product managers have that, as Jenny says, that business domain knowledge. And there's the issue of time that Jenny says, well, but there's also another small issue too that sometimes rears its head is that to do the work of requirements, which the product owner is there to change that work and start telling the team about what's actually required. Do that work, you need analysis skills. You need to be able to decompose, work multiple levels of abstraction, have hopefully some good working knowledge of how to do domain models and activity models and state diagrams and use cases and all this kind of stuff, right? That you actually have a tool belt for analysis with you as well. So you could do that work with the team to help break down the work. Because during backlog refinement, that's what this person does. They say, "Oh, I have this big old story that I want. It's called open an account. It's going to take us 7 sprints to build. We got to break this sucker down." Okay, who's breaking it down? Well, the product owner is supposed to help lead that charge a bit and help do the analysis like, okay, let's break it down so we still have value representative chunks because the team's going to want to come through and break it down by, oh, I'm the UI team. We'll take the UI parts of these stories. And I'm the database team. We'll take the database parts of these stories and build nothing of value. And the product owner has to insist on this value kind of approach and say, no, 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 no. I don't want pieces. I want little bits of value. Even if it's not the entire bite that I want a little bit of value. I want something that goes through the database and the UI and the transaction layer. I don't want just one of those pieces. Right. And so they need to have those skills to sort of force that conversation and make that happen. And if they're coming in, it's like, well, I just know our customers well. Well, then product management is not having the right skills to pull that off. And here's another sort of aspect of the problem. Do they have the interest? Right? Because Jenny was hinting at there's lots of work in product management to do a product management well. We've worked with the Pragmatic Institute, and they have this lovely, uh, what do they call those? You call it on the table, placemats. Yeah, placemats of all the jobs of product management. And it's huge. There's lots of work there to do. Do they have the interest? Because if you look at the product owner, they of 25 or 30 things they have in their placement, the product owner covers about 4, right? That's where the product owner is going to live, is these 4 of this 25-ish kinds of things that they need to be doing. Do they have a strong enough interest to really learn about those 4, or are they really interested in other parts of the job? And then if that's the case, then I'm going to say maybe a product manager, even though you still technically own the product, because usually that product manager is going to actually own it in a responsibility kind of sense. That's their authority and responsibility that lives or die, and they're the ones going to be hung out to dry if the product fails in the marketplace. Right? Since I kind of look there first, but often I have to glance away pretty quickly because I'm missing some key components. I'm missing the time, I'm missing the interest, and I'm missing the big chunk of skills necessary to interact with the team in a productive way.
It's interesting that you talk about that, Earl, because one of the clients I worked with kind of faced that dilemma, right? They really wanted to bring in